This is the primal scream of a dying regime.
Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Tuesday, 4 August, year of our Lord, 2024. Bolling, Bensman, and Rickards are going to walk us through some of the most pressing issues before us. We're going to start with Eric Bolling. Eric, I know you're pressed for time. Your assessment of Scott Bessent's star turn this morning on Squawk Box.
Wow. I'm going to be honest with you, Steve. I didn't know he had it in him. That was one of the most wide-ranging, in-depth explanations of what the plan is. And I became a big fan of Scott Bessent at that moment. He didn't say that they're bailing out the Japanese yen as an interventionist from the United States to protect our own interest rates and whatnot. He said they're a friend. They're one of our closest allies in the world, maybe the closest at this point. And he said their currency is undervalued on top of it. When he said undervalued, it went from, okay, I'm really against interventions, but this kind of helps because now you have a currency that's undervalued. So we're going to purchase an undervalued currency, which should be profitable. Currency swaps happen all the time, country to country. It just happens all the time. And he said it was less of a purchase than a swap. And Kernan, I'll give him credit. Kernan asked him a very important question, kind of tongue in cheek, but he asked him, Scott, you're a smart guy. You've been doing this a long time. You wrote buy 5 to 10 billion JPY, Japanese yen, in big letters with a Sharpie so that reporters could read it, right? And Bessent kind of laughed. He said, you want to know? Yeah. He said, we don't need to buy this stuff. This is, in essence, a currency swap. We'll help the Japanese. We'll also help the other currencies in the region, Korea, South Korea being one of them. And then on the top of it, it will, again, put a little bit of bid in our bond market rather than the selling that the Japanese may have to do. And then when the bid is in the bond market, rates come down. I will tell you, Steve, from the minute that happened, late Friday, we've been off to the races on here. The equities have firmed up. Interest rates have plummeted today, and that may be a little bit on the heels of about a $7 slide in oil prices over the last 2 days. We're down $3.50, approaching $75 a barrel again. So whatever they're doing, it's working. Let's put it that way.
What did you like? Tell me about what he said about the underlying economy and actually the green shoots that we were starting to see in February have been delayed because of our little excursion in Iran. What did you like? What he had to say? What's your assessment? What he said about the actual economy? Because this is going to drive a lot when it comes to election day, which is 90 and a wake up away, sir.
Yeah, some of the things that came out of that interview. First of all, in the middle of this was about 8:00 in the morning. In the middle of that, earnings were being released, and McDonald's earnings were high. We talked about Palantir last night on my show with you, Steve. They were the blockbuster earnings. And the point that Bessent was making is even in a what appears to be a higher interest rate market, these companies are CapEx spending, capital expenditure spending, which may feel tough right now if you're owning the stock, but down the road, those things all come to fruition. So stocks are rallying. Interest rates have been high, CapEx spending is going up, and earnings are beating across the board. Something like 80% of the companies reporting are beating when analysts expected maybe 20%, 18 to 20%. So it's a very robust economy right now, very, very robust. And a big help, a big win in the sale is that oil price coming down to 76. Now, we're going to still hover over $4 a gallon for gasoline for the short term. But again, one of the other things Bessent said, there may be as soon as this week a removal of blockade and all clear in the Strait of Hormuz. That's a perfect storm for some pretty positivity as far as the economics are.
You gave me, you're a guy, you're a trader. You gave me all the happy talk of Wall Street. Stocks are up. The oligarchs and billionaires are making more money. But the bond. What about Main Street?
So are you, Steve. So are you. So is Main Street. Main Street's making more money because their 401ks and their pensions are, they all three indices, the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq are at record territory right now. So, 70% of the country has at least some exposure to pension funds, 401ks, or the equity markets. So, they will open up their. Here's the silver lining. They can open up their monthly statement and see, okay, so gas is higher, but look at this. My 401k is a lot better too. That's the silver lining. The risk here
I don't think that
Japanese
translates.
yen.
I also debate your I debate your 7% number, but we'll go back and find that. So you thought it was a compelling. You thought what Scott had to say is a compelling argument.
I write off what most of the administration. Certainly, I throw out what Lutnick says because I just don't trust the man. I don't like the man. What Scott Bessent says, I listen, and he's very measured. Steve, he's very measured. He's not out there saying, President Trump created the greatest. He's saying, here's why this is working. Here's why. Here's the thought process behind this move. He's very methodical and very detailed oriented with why and how, and it is working. So I would say Bessent is the rock star, as you pointed out this morning, a rock star of the administration. And I never saw it. He's had brush ups with Elon Musk. There's some people who I know, you and I both know, who I don't particularly care for, but Bessent, I think, is the most capable guy.
I keep telling people about Elon's immaturity. He fought tooth and nail Bessent becoming a Treasury Secretary. As you know, the war room went all in because he was one of our contributors. I know Scott for 15 years. And he wanted Lutnick. He wanted Lutnick. The economy would be in an absolute total disaster if Lutnick was Treasury. Before you bounce, do you just spend all your time going between resorts and talking, giving great thoughts on money? Where are you today? This is magnificent. Do you actually do any legitimate work, or you just drift from conference to conference, giving your pearls of wisdom, sir?
So I used to be known as the hardest working man in TV until Steve Bannon came along. Now you are officially by far. I'm a distant second. I'm working, Steve. This is West Palm Beach, Florida, the home of the HQ of the Real America's Voice.
That's okay.
Blossoming and growing television media conglomerate, mega media empire.
You're on the road though, aren't you going back out to Vegas? We're going to do a live. They tell me a live event on Friday. Tell us about that, because we're trying to do a changeover. You're doing a live event on Friday.
I would love to get Mr. Stephen K. Bannon on. Yeah, we're doing another live event. It's our fourth in series. We've sold out every single one. We sold this one out to Las Vegas this Friday, 1 p.m. We're going to broadcast it live across RAV and all the channels that we show the show. And we're putting 30% more seats in. We're going to do a massive number. It's bringing the folks what we're talking about here on RAV to their town. They appreciate it. They love all the personality. Steve, they love when we flew you in a couple of times and do it again on Friday in Las Vegas.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. See you today at 4:00.
Yes, sir.
Eric Bolling. Tomorrow, the president's actually going to give a speech, I think, during our changeover. I think about 4:30 from Las Vegas. Eric's live there on Friday. We're going to do a handover. Bensman, thank you for getting this from us. You're actually you're now on the front lines again, outside the administration. This piece you wrote on the Federalist, which is one of my favorite sites, is just absolutely incredible. Talk to me right now about what you're recommending to the Trump administration and to the head of DHS, the one and only Secretary Mullen, sir.
That thing in Soweto happened because of asylum. Those people came in because they thought they were going to be able to claim asylum. Asylum is the most powerful magnet that there is for mass migration, for mass, torrents of humanity crossing a border, because they get released pretty much forever into the country. And so what I argue in the Federalist piece is that the Trump administration needs to do two things to make sure that a Soweto doesn't happen at the southwest border again. Two things. One is they have to withdraw from the 1951 UN Convention on Refugees, which is the requirement that we have an asylum law that does it in a certain way that is the magnetized. We got to demagnetize asylum. So that can be unilaterally done. The president can withdraw from that UN treaty. They have to make sure that the whole world knows that we're not a part of it
Hey,
anymore.
Todd, you
Spain
know,
is a
Oscar
part
Blue
of it.
Ramirez, hang on. Oscar Blue Ramirez has been down in Central America for years arguing this. Why wasn't this one of the first things that President Trump and the administration did? Why are we still in this a year and a half into President Trump's second term? What is driving that? There's got to be something, because President Trump's taken pretty dramatic action on other things. Why are we still in this in this UN deal?
All I can say is that it's not because it wasn't proposed. It was proposed and pushed. Maybe it's just competing priorities. I don't really know what the sausage making process is on that, but it's not too late. Withdraw from that 1951 treaty, get out of it. And then the second thing is there needs to be 4 or 5 legislative amendments to the asylum law. It's the 1980 Refugee Act. Just a few paragraphs would fix this, would demagnetize this forever. The president would go down in history for having permanently preempted future mass migration crises. They're coming to claim asylum so that they can be released into the country. That's what happened in Soweto. They thought that they were going to be released into Spain because of a court ruling that required asylum all of a sudden. So the piece argues.
Hang on. I want to connect it because I had Frank on. You got Sanchez and the socialist government that's open about they want a replacement. I mean, you know, it was 500,000 and 1.2 million. So you got a basically a quasi-Marxist government that's driving this. Just like here in the United States tonight in Michigan, you're going to have a Marxist jihadist win the Democratic primary for the Senate. He's going to be like Mamdani's big brother, right? In the United States Senate, you've got McKinney all over the country. You got this madness going on because the Marxist jihadist Democratic Party, they're going to fight the legislative part of this tooth and nail, are they not? They walk through a couple of these changes, but the Democrats, they want more of this. They don't want less of it. They're an open borders party, sir.
The clock is ticking out. Literally, you have until the new Congress is sworn in January of next year to make sure that this gets through, the legislative part of this gets through. Because of that, all the polls are showing, and a lot of people are, naysaying that Democrats are going to take the House and maybe even the Senate. You have no chance at all to get changes to the 1980 Refugee Act through after January, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people. So what I'm arguing is for the Trump administration to hurry up, get those amendments through. Don't do it as part of some comprehensive immigration bill. It just needs to be some amendments. Push it through as part of a reconciliation package. Push it through like you were with the election integrity legislation. Add this in because it's really important. And Soweto shows us that we're, like I said on your show the other day, we're a knife's edge, a razor's edge away from that happening down here. If they ever restore the asylum, the reason the border is calm right now is only because Donald Trump shut down all asylum using 212F of the INA. Go Google that, 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act. An appellate court has already struck it down. It's in the appeals process is the only reason Soweto is not happening at our border right now on that. That's how close we are.
Hang on. I want to make sure people understand. The court struck down President Trump's executive order move, correct? They've struck it down. The only reason that we don't have this flooding the zone with the asylum seekers, the phony asylum seekers, is that it's at an appellate court right now, correct?
That's right. And the administration will probably appeal that. It was a D.C. Appellate court, so of course, but it'll probably go to the Supreme Court next. So it's not going to happen anytime soon, but it just shows you that you're just a court ruling away from something like that. 212F is the thing that's holding the border together right now. It's strictly a policy decision to invoke that 212F. Of course, the other side immediately attacked that because everybody knows that that's the key to the border. 212F is the entire key to the border.
Hang on one second. Hang on. I know you got to bounce this. Hang on one second.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Birchgold.com/Bannon. End of the dollar empire. The 9th free installment is coming. Make sure you understand, read, immerse yourself in the first 8, and talk to Philip Patrick and the team about why gold has been a hedge for thousands of years, and at times of financial turbulence could be your still point in a turning world. Birchgold.com/Bannon. Get to Philip Patrick and the team. We're going to get Philip back on later this week to go through all the everything that's going on in capital markets. Jim Rickards is going to join us in a second. I got Todd Bensman. Also, Patriot Mo, the great folks down in Texas. Glenn and Jenny Story, Christian company supporting your Christian values. I think they gave $3 million last year to various causes. Make sure you support us. Only the greatest phone service in America, maybe the world. 972-PATRIOT. Call now, 972-PATRIOT. Talk to somebody with the East Texas accent. If you want to have a prayer session, they'll join you in prayer. Then talk about the service itself. 972-PATRIOT. Do it today. I'm telling you, from the War Room Posse, give you a free month of service when you make the switch. Bensman, America has to come first. American citizens have to come first. I just want to reiterate quickly, because I know you got to bounce. You're down in McAllen, Texas. Todd Bensman's back in the Rio Grande Valley. Bensman, I just want to reiterate for the audience, because you've spent years in this at CIS. You're one of the premier experts in the country. You went to work in the administration for a year. We're on a knife's edge about this. President Trump's actions have sealed the border, but that could all go away in a moment. This hangs on a couple of court rulings, a couple of executive orders, and the strength and determination of the commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump. But we're on a knife's edge on this thing. And you see what's going to happen tonight in Michigan. You're going to have a Marxist jihadist win. The rising political power of the Marxist jihadists, you cannot look away. And it's being accommodated by the controlled opposition of the Republican Party of this country. Todd Bensman, what is the knife's edge we're on?
It's fixable. Like you said, it's reversible what the Trump administration has done by the very next president and or by a court ruling. The other side is going after this thing, the 212F authority that Trump used to shut the border down, aggressively going after it. So in court, because it's so effective. So it has to be, there needs to be a permanent fix. The gate needs to be welded shut, and the time is running out to do that. It's a couple of legislative fixes, and I write about it. You can go see my bullet points in the Federalist piece about exactly what needs to happen to permanently fix this. Pull out of the UN 1951 UN treaty. That can be done unilaterally, even though it was Senate ratified. There's plenty of precedent for that. It would take a notification, and 1 year later, we're out from under that obligation, and the whole world knows we're no longer a party to it. Then go hit the legislative side, do it all at the same time. You have about, until January, in my estimation.
It's got to happen now. We got to pull the migrant thing, and the asylum thing is ridiculous. Where do we go to keep up with you? Follow your writings, social media, all of it. This piece in the Federalist, another great Todd Bensman special. Where do folks go?
Yeah, first go to the Federalist website and just look for my name, Todd Bensman. You can find me on X at Todd Bensman, and at Getter and Truth Social. Follow me at Heritage. I've got a page with all my writings on it. ToddBensman.com, my website. Also, everything's there. All my Bannon appearances are there as well.
Man, oh man. Man, oh man. Okay, Todd, we'll let you go back to work. Down in McAllen, Texas, Todd Bensman, always the tip of the spear. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Also, really appreciate our next guest, Jim Rickards. Jim, thank you for doing this back-to-back days, but since Scott was on this morning, I wanted your thinking about all of it, the Japan intervention, what he said about the economy, but also what he said about Hormuz, because I think you may have an update, sir.
Right. Yeah, I saw that interview this morning. Look, I think Scott Bessent was dealing in total good faith. He said what the White House has been saying is the talks are ongoing, and there could be an agreement within a day or two, or his words, to reopen the Straits of Hormuz. That's fine. The problem is, and I don't think the White House realizes it, Trump has become a bit of a laughingstock on Wall Street. There are people, actually, analysts keeping score of how many times he said the war will be over in a couple of days or a week or whatever, and we're in talks, et cetera. And then Iran starts blowing up tankers again or cargo vessels, et cetera. So he's lost all credibility on that. And interestingly, I've tracked it myself. Trump tends to do this on weekends, Friday or Saturday. It's almost like he's propping up the stock market so it'll open higher on Monday, which it did. I think another mistake is Trump mistakes the stock market for the economy. They actually go their own ways, to a great extent. Yeah, people care about their 401ks, but they care more about everything else. Price of gas at the pump, home mortgages, kids' schools, kids buying first homes.
Well, hold
That's
it,
what
but
people
hang on.
actually care about.
Scott talked about. I thought that was one of the most fascinating parts of it. He talked about the green, sprouts we're getting on the underlying economy. He talked about Main Street, not Wall Street, right? What are your thoughts on that? Are you buying it?
He was correct, and I'm not disputing what he said, but let's peel back the onion a little bit. What he said was that U.S. manufacturing was going up, it was expanding rapidly, and it's creating jobs in that sector. He's absolutely right about that. But what is it? It's data centers. You spend $1 trillion, upwards of $2 trillion at this point, maybe more, building these massive data centers that are like taking up entire, half a county or whatever, sucking the power grid dry, et cetera. That's a separate debate, whether that all makes sense. But that is what's driving investment. That's what the manufacturing sector. And it does create jobs. Somebody's got to work on them and build them. Again, I don't dispute that. But the question is that long-term productivity? You get into the whole AI debate. Okay, we're spending a couple $1 trillion. That'll give your GDP a nice boost. And it's real. But is it any different than the ghost cities in China? I've been all over China. I've been to the ghost cities. I got mud on my, people say mud on my boots. I got mud on my Italian loafers. But the point is, they're real.
Hang on. They would say that this is a rush, if I can simplify it for a Mick like myself. They would say that this is a rush on compute, right? That you're building compute capacity. Is that not what this future economy demands? Or you said ghost cities. You think a lot of these data centers are just going to be the equivalent of the ghost cities of China, the condos they built and the apartments they built that would never actually got any occupancy?
In effect, yes. They're the real places will be real NVIDIA chips, real sucking the power grid dry. I don't dispute any of that. But where's the productivity? I mean, when you see a company like Google with negative cash flow for the first time since it went public, which is, I don't know the exact date, about maybe 20 years ago or so. These companies these companies are running negative cash flow. They're no longer doing this out of equity or retained earnings. They're doing it with borrowings. Okay, are we building the Transcontinental Railroad? Maybe, but remember, in the railroad boom, a lot of people lost money. The companies are still around. They built the railroad, nice going, but the bondholders got wiped out time and again. So is that just the chop or the difficulty of expanding, or are we really doing something? Now, here's where this guy, got to look up his name. Sorry, he just lost $25 billion. We were talking the other day about long-term capital management. This guy had a hedge fund. It had $50 billion in it. He lost about half of that in a week. But before that, he wrote a 165-page paper. I started reading it. I haven't finished it, just to be clear. But this charmed everybody in Silicon Valley. The guy, by the way, the guy's 25 years old. Nothing wrong with that. Looks like a male model. But this guy got $50 billion from Silicon Valley based on this essay, and he obviously didn't know what he was doing.
He leveraged it up 400%. That's the thing. He'd never been a trader, and he paid the price.
Correct.
For that, not having any experience.
Correct. So my point, Steve, is that the physical facilities are real. The jobs created are real. Bessent is right about that. It is driving GDP, but where is it going? And is it just going to be a kind of a dead end? My view is probably yes. AI is not going away. It's powerful. It'll do good stuff, but we're not going to have artificial general intelligence. We're not going to have superintelligence. There are other reasons. I explain why that will not exist. And it's kind of, a little productivity boost, but not what people expect. But meanwhile, you got a couple $1 trillion IPOs in the pipeline. So are these people, meaning the Silicon Valley, I mean, we know all the names. Are they thinking about the economy or everyday Americans? Or are they thinking about themselves?
Are you concerned that, it's the first time Scott's been that strong in trying to sell the Hormuz situation. We got him in a minute. I want to keep you just briefly after the break because I know you got to bounce. You're doing a favor here for us. Do you think that he misread Hormuz today, given some of the activity of the Persian pirates? Sir?
Yeah, I'll be really quick. What's going on with Iran is called rope-a-dope. Now, for listeners who don't remember Muhammad Ali, if you're in the boxing ring and you're a little tired and your legs are wobbly, you can lean up against the rope, go into a defensive crouch and just kind of catch your breath a little bit and then get back in the fight. But the other boxer's like, hey, this guy's weak, here I come. What Muhammad Ali used to do, he used to lean up against the rope and go in the defensive crouch, but he wasn't weak at all. He was totally on top of his game. The other boxer would come in, Ali would bounce off the ropes, left hook, right jab, and knock the guy out. But he kept doing it, and they kept falling for it. And he called it rope-a-dope because the dope comes into the rope. But that's what's going on with Iran. Iran says, yeah, we'll talk to you. Yeah, bring over Wyckoff and Kushner. We'll meet in Oman, whatever. Let's reopen the Straits of Hormuz. And then Trump buys into it, and then boom, they blow up another oil tanker. Right? They don't have to do it every day. You can shut the Straits of Hormuz. You don't have to interdict every vessel. You only have to blow one up every 4 or 5 days, and that's enough to keep all the captains and the crews and the insurance companies, bottled up in the Persian Gulf. So Trump has fallen for that.
Yeah. Hang on for 1 second, Jim. I want to just hold you to the break. Talk about strategic intelligence. Jim Rickards joins us this morning. Scott Bessent, tentatively scheduled at 5 p.m. tonight. We're going to spend hopefully 2 segments with him and break down some of this monumental interview he gave on CNBC this morning. Short break.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Hey, Jim, tell us about the special on strategic intelligence. You got a 90-day, basically, no harm, no foul special. I want to make sure everybody gets access to it. Where do they go?
Thanks, Dave. Our landing page is rickardsintel.com. That's rickardsintel.com. You go there, you can subscribe to Strategic Intelligence. It's our flagship newsletter. It's monthly, but it's huge, like 10,000 words. I write the lead articles. We put a lot into it. We have a special deal. We started it for the 4th of July, but my publishers extended it, $17.76. So for $17.76, you get 3 months. The vast majority of our subscribers just stay with it. They love it. If you want your money back after 30 days, give us a call. We'll give you the money back. But $17.76, it's the lowest price ever, and it's our best product. So we hope people enjoy it.
Well, the War Room Posse loves you, so let's everybody sign up. It's virtually no risk. If you don't love it, just give Jim contact him. He'll give you $17.76 back. Jim Rickards, thank you for changing your schedule today to join us here. Talk about Scott Bessent's interview on Squawk Box and the Strait of Hormuz. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Scott's with us tonight. Let's go. A monumental event yesterday. The great Aaron Rodgers ripped the face off of Dr. Fauci and ESPN simultaneously at St. Vincent's College up in Pennsylvania at the Steelers training camp. Let's go ahead and play it.
A couple times today, because you've been very open about coming back for this year, last rodeo, and you talked about your wife saying, hey, have another year. Mike McCarthy being here, obviously a big deal. Can you tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season? Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
Okay. Like
gotta love that guy.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House? What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question?
Yeah.
What are we
it,
doing?
baby.
And how much time did the network spend at that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding?
Yeah!
Did Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard anything.
I bet they didn't.
But on that note.
And there was another scandal this offseason, too, involving a voter for MVP, for Coach of the Year. How much time did your network spend? Where's your camera? Did your network spend on that?
Our network.
I wish
How much time did you spend? How much time?
This is awesome.
Go back to Fauci?
Yeah.
Go back to the coward Tony Fauci and science?
Hold on now.
Who's spending the entire time writing in his diary about how fun it is to be famous? You got to be kidding me.
Okay, so on that note.
What are you going to say about me now?
Debate him.
What are you going to say about me
No,
now?
I got no debate here. You had a 500.
No, seriously, what are they going to say about me now? Now you can't talk about the COVID stuff because obviously it was made, in a lab in China. That's like not even questionable anymore. Tony Fauci is an absolute criminal. I'm on good terms with my family. What are you going to say now? What are you going to say now?
I want to let you know. It's been a fun ride for you, I would assume, over the last couple.
It's been a great life and a great career. And it's nice to be sitting on this side now, especially after that coward played the fifth over 100 times.
Okay.
I thought you had a part in there, Tony. Why couldn't you answer one question the entire time?
Okay, we have 4 minutes until the heart out.
Yeah, I got 4 more minutes. We can keep this shit going. We can keep it going.
Anything else?
I got at least 4 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, that was magnificent. We're going to now go live to St. Vincent College in Pennsylvania. Rob Bluey. Rob, here's the thing. You got to help me out here. You're one of the hardest working guys I've ever met. You're head of the Daily Signal. You've just been fantastic for over a decade that I've known you. I'm shocked by two things. One, that you're actually taking a day off, and that you were there yesterday as a Steelers fan, yelling and screaming with all the other Steelers fans to support Aaron Rodgers. Sir.
Steve, it was great. We try to make the trip to Latrobe to see Pittsburgh Steelers training camp because it's a place that my parents took me when I was a kid. So I wanted to bring my son with me. And I did not expect the news to certainly take the turn of events that it did yesterday. Pat McAfee was here on the campus broadcasting his show live. He had Mike McCarthy, the head coach, on right before Aaron Rodgers. It was a fairly subdued interview, no real big news. And then Aaron Rodgers takes the stage and the crowd just went nuts. I mean, not only, I think you picked up on it, I picked up on it, so many other people clearly saw the reaction and the cheering applause that he received for the comments that he made. And I think because he's speaking on behalf of so many millions of Americans who were not only frustrated with what they saw last week on Capitol Hill with Anthony Fauci, but for the years of losses that they suffered. Not only my family with the schooling of our kids, but think about the small businesses. Think about the people who passed away and family members couldn't attend funerals because of Anthony Fauci's guidance and advice. And so I think Aaron Rodgers was voicing on their behalf a lot of the anger that was certainly present during that period of time. And in his particular case, Steve, it's important to remember that ESPN, as you just noted, went after him aggressively for his stance when it came to COVID and the vaccine and did not relent and let up on him at all. And so a lot of built up frustration, certainly, that he let out there on Pat McAfee's show.
Well, they went after Pat too. Pat's not with us on everything, but that he gave him a platform and ESPN went after him. I want to ask you, here's what really shocked me. The Steelers are known as a defensive team, but they're known as a blue collar, working woman's team. The fan base there is fantastic through all the years. What got me was the outpouring, because you've got a lot of independents and Democrats in that crowd. That's just not all MAGA. I mean, I think they believe a lot of the fundamentals of MAGA, but the explosion in back of that and the unanimity and the support of Aaron Rodgers wasn't simply the fact that he is the quarterback who's coming back for one more year to try to take him to the Super Bowl, but the fact that this was pretty broadly a broad belief of many people in that audience, including Democrats. You were there. Am I off base there, or was that a unified response?
You are spot on. I looked around me as Rodgers started talking about this. I figured there might be some fans who decide that they were going to walk away from the McAfee set. I mean, it was easy in and out. So, I mean, people could have left and showed, with their own feet that they were going to walk away and not kind of listen to what Aaron had to say. But they stayed. They stayed and cheered him on. They were enthusiastic. I think that, the audio was being piped back to the audience, and we could hear every single word that he was saying. And he received quite a raucous applause, I think, in part because of, not, as you indicated, these are hardworking people from Western Pennsylvania, people who've traveled, great distances to be here, maybe taking the day off, or maybe they work second shift and come and watch Steelers practice in the morning. It was great. It was tremendous. We decided to come back for a second day today because we had such a great experience yesterday being among Steelers Nation. And it's one of those experiences. Remember, St. Vincent College has hosted the Pittsburgh Steelers since 1966. And so for all over the course of that period of time, it is one of the most unique training camps that you get. They came up, Steve, and they said, I can't show you the field, but right off to the side of me, is the practice field. There's the hill. You'll see the fans behind me who just camp out on blankets and chairs and just spend the day because this is a great American pastime that football is. And I think that they appreciate the hard work of somebody like an Aaron Rodgers, particularly when he's going to speak out on their behalf and talk about the frustrations that so many of us have with Anthony Fauci.
Well, the Rooney family is a very devout Catholic family, and you're right. It's been up at St. Vincent's College since the early 60s. Here's one of the things. It shocked me that the courage of Aaron Rodgers, particularly to take on ESPN, particularly in this his last season, right? For him to take it on, but he spoke truth to power, and you can see people resonate. Your living is following politics in D.C. very closely. Is the Republican Party kind of missed something here about how this resonates? I mean, yesterday that was visceral. That came from a strong belief of people's guts. Has the Republican Party missed it somehow that we're still not focusing on Fauci and what happened in the lockdowns, which had the pandemic with the Chinese Communist Party? Aaron Rodgers hit everything from Wuhan lab to the lockdowns to the vaccine, all of it. Have the Republican Party just kind of said, oh, we're going to move past that? Have they missed something that really resonates with working class America?
I think that certainly the establishment part of the Republican Party has missed it. I don't think President Trump and some of the champions that you have in the House and Senate who are really in touch with the working class Americans have missed it. But I think that there's certainly more that they can do. I had some people last week. I went on CNN and I was it was the morning of Fauci's hearing, and I couldn't believe that people were still defending this man after all of the we've experienced and what we now know that he said at the time, and it's particularly after you read the diaries and saw so much of what he said privately was contradicted with what he said publicly. And so I think that it's important to not only hold these individuals accountable, in part because we see that trust in institutions has cratered to pretty low levels. And I'd say that extends to a lot of the establishment and traditional media. That would include ESPN, certainly the most establishment sports platform that exists today. And I'm glad that Aaron particularly singled them out because, Steve, the Daily Signal, certainly we experienced the censorship from the social media platforms and places like NewsGuard, which would come in and rate us poorly because of things that we were trying to expose about COVID and the vaccines. And as a result of that, I'm sure that there were, millions of dollars in lost revenue that we all experienced, but also think about the reach and the impact that censorship had on so many of the truth-telling Americans who are trying to get the word out.
Rob, and by the way, ESPN's been silent about the entire thing. We'll have more on that later, hopefully in the afternoon show. Rob, like I said, I'm stunned that you're taking a day off. You're one of the hardest working guys I know. How do people get to Daily Signal? How do they include it in their daily media diet? And what is your social media, sir?
Well, absolutely. Well, you can follow at Daily Signal on all the social channels. Go to dailysignal.com. Please sign up for our email newsletter. There you see my article on the screen. I did work last night, Steve. I couldn't take the day completely off. And you can follow me at Robert Bluey. And we'll keep tabs. Maybe there will be some news taking place today at training camp. Although I don't know, Aaron's got a lot. I don't know if he could top yesterday's comments with anything else.
Did you ever think in taking the week off and being a Steelers fan, going on the first day that they put pads on, ESPN, McAfee's going to be there? Did you ever think in a million years you would actually be part of the biggest actual political news story of the day, sir?
Wasn't expecting it at all. But it was my son last night. He said, Dad, you've got to write about this. I mean, you were there, just feet from where Aaron was sitting on stage. Certainly I agree with what Aaron said. So it was not something that they took a lot of convincing on his part, but tremendous experience, Steve, and certainly a reason to come back next year, even if Aaron's not on the team.
Rob, enjoy your week with the family and enjoy today at the Steelers training camp. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Steve.
There's something there. My phone blew up last night, too, from people from Pennsylvania. Hey, they kind of like the idea of Aaron Rodgers taking on Fetterman, right? Because, Fetterman is a very mixed bag. So they like the idea. Aaron Rodgers for the Senate in 2028. I don't know. You don't meet many guys who are as articulate as he is and can connect dots and have the courage to take on ESPN, one of the most woke institutions in this country, have done so much to destroy sports. To have Aaron Rodgers do it and to have those gutless cowards there just be absolutely quiet about it shows you everything you need to know. Chapter, Medicare, the confusion about it, the complexity of it. It doesn't have to be that way. A data company called Chapter, started by Colby and his team, makes it all very clear to you. It saved over $1 million already to the War and Posse. 845 War Room. 845 War Room. Call them today. Free, no obligation consultation.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
So, Todd is out. The Attorney General is now at a committee on a straight line party vote. I think 12-10. So Tillis in Cornyn from Texas came through. So that's going to go now to the floor. I think they got to wait 2 or 3 days, and the floor rules. It'll be voted. They'll vote along party lines, basically. So he will be confirmed probably on Thursday or Friday. President, I think, will sign it and make him the permanent Attorney General on Saturday at the latest. They are also now debating this CR, and the CR gets back to what, and they try to break this up so you can't understand. The CR gets back to what Scott Bessent is dealing with the Japanese on. We have $40 trillion of debt. That's his face amount. We have $2 trillion in deficits. This all has to be financed. You need Japan as a buyer of those securities. That's one of the reasons we're doing this intervention in Japan, although, as Scott says, just like in Argentina, I believe the United States is going to make money off these trades because these massive deficits. What they're spending their time on right now is a CR. The CR is going to kick the can down the road to December 11th. This is what the Senate's put this as a higher priority than 2 things, both of which President Trump's priorities. Number one is all the ambassadors. You got Dave Bratt, Kerry Lake, all these. They're supposed to vote them in masse. That's been delayed. You've got also the Save America Act. They're not going to get to that. They have no interest in doing it. And today is actually technically the day as the War Room Posse members continue, and the engine room continues to remind me that you can do anything on the voter rolls. So we've missed that. President Trump now for 6 months has said this is the number one most important legislative agenda he's got, and they don't even deal with it. They go, well, we voted for it. No, that's what the Democrats and the having to do this phony filibuster they've set up to get to the break cloture to get to the 60 votes. They've made no effort to do it. So they're just shining it on. Hey, okay, Trump, that's your problem. And all the Trump wingnuts, this is your problem. We don't care if you think about voter integrity or anything like that. It has zero interest for us. What they're doing now is they kick the can down the road on a CR off of Biden and Pelosi numbers. They're going to continue to drive to deficits because they didn't have the guts to take on any of the spending, any of the out of control spending and fraudulent spending we know being ripped off. None of that. If you're saying you're finding, JD, if you're finding hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud, then why is it still in the spending bills? Why is it still in the authorizations? Why is it still in the CRs? It's all there. It's all there. This is what drives. You can't have guns and butter. Didn't we prove that during Johnson's administration? You can't have it. Remember, they had to deal with the inflation later. In fact, this is one of the many reasons we got off the gold standard with Nixon in 73. Stores still came back to haunt us. You had the Arab oil embargo, all of that, and then the hyperinflation of what brought down Jimmy Carter's failed presidency. You got to get your hands around these deficits. It's the single biggest national security crisis we have, still in front of the artificial intelligence that they won't tell us anything about what's going on in these labs until they have a break, which they say can't happen. Then you have a break, and it's happening all the time now, and we know they're suppressing the information. They're only coming when they absolutely have to come. Tax Network USA, Scott Bessent, he's going to be our guest tonight if everything works out on his schedule. 866-513-5516. You get a free consultation, no obligation. This is what we work with our sponsors to make sure that you can get a look at these sponsors and their work and see if you want to sign up on a more permanent basis. Here, they can help you walk through exactly what you owe the IRS. Of course, the IRS has its own thoughts about what you owe. And with $2 trillion deficits, President Trump's given a mandate. You got to get every penny we're owed. It's the only way. Right now, it's $5.5 trillion, I think, we take in from all sources. They want to boost that. And everybody's sitting there going, oh, well, President Trump's going to forgive me. The October deadline is coming up. Go check out right now. It's totally free. 866-513-5516. Completely and totally free. So check it out. Got nothing to lose except a little bit of your time. By the way, Kobe is our guy over at Chapter 845 War Room. Call them right now. Free, no obligation. Take a little time, but go through it. It'll make you. This is called Medicare without tears. Okay? Otherwise, you'll be pulling your hair out and you will be crying. Home Title Lock, the good folks over there, also give you a free 2-week look at the $1 million triple lock protection, how that can help protect you from, I don't know, AI, cyber, or worse, I think, actually, the rogue lawyers, significant others, financial advisors, family members that somehow figure out how to monetize your title in your home, either sell the property outright or just monetize it with a hard money loan, a second hard money loan, or second on your house, which you got to pay off at exorbitant interest rates. And as soon as it happens, your whole life changes. You just focus on this. And nobody wants to hear your tale of woe. They just want their money. This is why you got to protect it. Every dream you've ever had is in that home. And we now know that for the generation under 40, it's one of the reasons that there's restlessness in the country. And it's one of the reasons they're voting for these radical Democrats. It's one of the reasons you're going to have a Marxist jihadist as the candidate out of Michigan tonight for the United States Senate. Is young people particularly are very, very frustrated. HometitleLock.com/Steve or promo code Steve. Anyway, that's me, Steve. $1 million triple lock protection. Okay, the Charlie Kirk Show is next. All afternoon is going to be ripping on fire on RAV. President's going to leave to go to Los Angeles tonight for a fundraiser. Then he's in Vegas tomorrow. He's going to give a speech at 4:30. Of course, we'll cover it all tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to try to do a transition with handoff with Eric Bolling. Eric's actually headed out to a live show that we're going to participate in on Friday from Vegas. And Scott Bessent is hopefully on tonight. Natalie G. Winters has an amazing investigative report that she's got. Natalie will be with us also. So Poso, everybody, Gruber, all of them lined up. We'll be back at 5 o'clock. The Charlie Kirk Show. Andrew Corvette follows us. Keep it right here on Real America's Voice. I want to thank the folks at All Family Pharmacy. If you want medical freedom, if you want to get away from the Faucis of the world, you got to get away from the big drug distributors and the drugstore companies. This is online. They're going to pass on savings and overhead to you. Plus, you can get all these drugs and medicines that became relevant during COVID. Allfamilypharmacy.com. Steve or Bannon 10 for 10% off. We'll see you back there. Bye.